Namaste, Sat Sri Akal, Adab, good morning to all. Whenever you start anything new, your mind will be blank like this. As you go along, the picture will become black and white. And when you have mastered the particular subject, then the picture will become very, very colorful. There are very few places in the world which can be conferred with bragging rights. Andaman Nicobar Island has this unique privilege because of its crystal clear waters, thick tropical forest, and very rich marine life. But beautiful places come with their challenges also. And the challenges that we had in these islands were that our umbilical cords were tied to Chennai for all our supplies from Chennai. And the ships used to come once a month, the aircraft used to come twice a week. And there were no rivers there, no lakes there, no underground water, and no tankers. And if the weather packed up, the supplies would not come, and we used to forget the taste of onions and potatoes. It was we were in that kind of situation in 1988. And I got into sustainable development when I got a call from the late Commander-in-Chief of the Navy, Admiral Govil. He called me up a month after I landed up there, and he said, "Niranjan, will you please do something about your cardboard packaging boxes? They are littering the island." Without thinking, I told him, "Yes, sir, I'll do something about it," because the request resonated with me. I did not do anything. A month elapsed, and I get a similar call from the conservator of forest, Niranjan. I got 7 people to look after 200 square kilometers. And you guys get 50,000 tourists per annum. And your tourists are breaking the corals, they are tinkering with the mangroves and littering the forest. Please do something about it. Both were very polite requests. And again, I have a foot in the mouth disease, I said, "Yes, sir, I'll do something about it." And then I started feeling a little guilty that I'm promising without performing. And I was struggling to find out solutions for how to handle the tourists once they have left my hotel. I could not think of a solution. So I fished for these ideas from my HODs and I drew a blank. So then it occurred to me after about 2.5 months that why don't I appeal to the good sense of the tourist and you put a small sticker on the packaging box which says that please do not litter the island, please bring it back to the hotel for disposal. Lo and behold, 50% of our cardboard packaging box came back, but 50% didn't come back. So was I happy? No, I was not happy. I wanted 100% compliance. So what I told my food and beverage manager is that let's stop buying this cardboard packaging box and shift to steel tiffin box. And by doing this, we became zero waste. And as you can see from this particular slide, that we dovetail the concerns of the Admiral and the Conservator of Forest. So the concerns of the Conservator of Forest was people are destroying the corals. So we put a message, please do not litter the island. Please bring it back to the hotel for this. Please, the corals, leave the corals for the fish. And we also trained our staff that when you go with the guest, in case the guest asks you to break the coral, tell them politely that the corals are the natural capital of the place. It's the nursery for phytoplankton, which are eaten by zooplankton, and it's the beginning of the marine food chain. And if we tinker with that, our marine chain will be completely destroyed. And I also added one more sentence for my staff so that they understand this and communicate the message clearly to the guest. I said, if we don't protect these natural capital, your jobs are at stake. And the message went home. And I never got a complaint from any of my guests that, hey, your staff told me, no, you cannot break corals. But he added value to my ignorance. And we're very happy that they are doing this. And I mentioned to you in my third slide that the islands do not have underground water, no lakes, no rivers, etc. And on 31st of March 1990, I got a notification from the local government that your water supply is going to be cut on next day, that's the 1st of April, from 10,000 liters per day to 2,000 liters per day for a 45-room hotel with 65 staff. When I read this notification, I saw the entire galaxy on a bright day like this. And I was stunned, how will I handle a 45-room hotel with 2,000 liters of water? So then the invisible hands of nature guided me, and I called my chief engineer. My chief engineer's name is Thomas. I said, Thomas, from tomorrow you stop supplying water in the rooms. He was aghast. He said, what will we do? I said, we'll leave a note in the room that in case you want water, please call up the housekeeping. So in the morning when the guests called up a housekeeping, we'll ask them, why do you want water? Adding insult to injury. So if they hesitatingly said we want for toilet, a bucket of seawater would be transported to their room. And if they wanted for bathing, a bucket of fresh water would go to the room. So we did segmentation depending on the use of water. And it was very annoying running a hotel with buckets of water. So I asked my engineer, what do we do? He said, sir, let's break our entire galvanized iron pipeline, replace it with plastic pipeline, and use seawater for flushing. This task could have taken only 15 days to complete in mainland. But out there, with our umbilical cords tied to Chennai, it took us 6 months to gather all the material and complete the task. So during this crisis period, we told our staff there are 365 beautiful islands in the archipelago. Have a bath anywhere, but not in the hotel. We stopped supplying water in the locker room. We told our kitchen staff that you will not rinse the vessels with fresh water in the first round. You'll rinse it with seawater and final rinse with fresh water. Uh, Thereafter, we realized that we were watering a garden and it did not make sense that we were using water for a luxury need and the local people had to contend with very little water. And you might be wondering, why did this crisis happen? The crisis happened because in 1989, the Northeast monsoon failed. And there's only one dam in Port Blair. That did not fill up. And therefore, the local administration had to ration water to take us up to the next monsoon. So I told my engineer, stop watering the garden. Our garden became a Thar desert. But then I also told him after some time, we are running a business. I have to make sure that I keep the local stakeholders happy and also continue to run the business. So I told him, dig a well. He said, sir, we are on the coast. We'll get seawater. I said, no, our lobby level's at 8 stories height, and you dig a well at 6 stories height and go up to third story, and then there'll be no ingress of seawater. In one rainfall, we got 2 lakh liters of water and started using this water for our gardening. And we again revived our garden. Those days, I did not know the terminology called regenerative economy. We got into regenerative economy without the vocabulary. The vocabulary was not there. There was no playbook to refer to. There was nobody to refer to or call somebody and ask the help of a consultant. We were on our own. And sometimes it's good to be illiterate. You start with ground zero. I had mentioned to you about we supplied the water through buckets. And I also mentioned to you about rinsing part. We also made a drainage on the edge of the sloping roof of our hotel to harvest the potable water in our water tank. And by doing all this, we reduced our reliance on the municipality by 80%. In a manner of speaking, we became an off-grid hotel. And this is the well I was talking about. Yes, we had a problem with our guests sometimes that they used to leave the tap open and we used to be out of water. So, in order to sensitize all our guests, we put this unintentional wastage of water in the bathroom mirror so that we engage them in green education in the bathroom. And in Port Blair, the newspaper comes at 12 o'clock because the flights used to land at 10 o'clock. By the time the paper came, it was 12 o'clock. So, when you're sitting on the throne, you had to read this, and people liked it. And we made thousands of bees and left it in the reception because guests asked for it. And this traveled all over the country, and you'll find it in many hotels today. And the solutions are very simple. It's right under our nose. It's just a question of bring about a little bit of lifestyle changes. When men shave, they used to leave, me included, leave the tap open for 2 minutes and 18 liters of water used to go. But if you use half a liter of water, you're saving X amount of water. So these ideas were portrayed in this eco toolkit. And for flushing the dual piping system, which I mentioned earlier, HDP is high density polyethylene pipes, which is anti corrosive, so it can handle the salt water for flushing. Now, the learning from this is that there's a need for having dual piping system in our cities and our homes. It's very unfortunate that we use A category water for a C category need every morning. And we are a water stressed country. And many of us felt the heat in March, April, May, June when you had severe water cuts. So there are a lot of signals from nature to change our ways, but somehow we are not picking up the signals. It's time for us to pick up the signals. Otherwise, we'll be in great trouble. Uh, in 1989, we started a compensatory depository afforestation because I asked my engineer, how many trees have you cut to make this hotel? He said 500. So I told him, go plant 20,000 trees. He said, sir, no place. The islands have 87% forest cover. There's no place to plant 20,000 saplings. So I spoke to Airport Authority of India and I said, look, we would like to symbolically plant 1,500 saplings at our cost and we'll take care of it. Please allow us to do that. And the head of AI, Airport Authority of India, was kind enough. He allowed us to do that. And we started this concept of compensatory depository afforestation. Our intent was that this is neither here or there. How do we enter the perceptual arena of many people's mindsets? And irrespective of whether they are staying in our hotel or not. So a lot of opinion makers, shapers came from all over the world. And those days there was no internet. So this was the way of viralizing the ideas. Similarly, when guests arrived in the hotel, as soon as they arrived in the reception, there was a message of how we have segmented the use of water. And this was liked by one of the commissioners of Dehradun who was facing similar problem. And he took some of these ideas for implementation in Dehradun way back in the 90s. I was very fortunate to meet Jacques Cousteau, the founder of the scuba diving equipment. He was a mariner. He had traveled all over the world and he stayed in our hotel. And he was telling me, the oceans are under great stress because of human activity and negative practices. It's basically a big dustbin today. You know it. You see so many WhatsApp messages, etc. And we need to do something about it. But he was very impressed with the pristine waters of the Andamans. And I learned a lot from him. And I liked his quote. So instead of me liking the quote, I wanted all our guests to get sensitized in this particular subject. And I read out this quote. This is our hope that the children born today still have 20 years hence a bit of green grass under bare feet, a breath of clean air to breathe, a patch of blue water to sail upon, and a whale on the horizon to set them dreaming. What a lovely message. For me, water is green gold, and every drop must be used empathetically. And I'll give you an example of this. If I come to your house, you'll offer me a glass of water. But if you come to my house, I'll bring a small glass and ask you small peg or large peg. I can see you're laughing. I'm so happy you're laughing. The logic is that neither you nor I, we don't have a dashboard on our forehead which says emergency, full, half, etc. So why would I give you a full glass of water, which you'll perhaps have a sip out of it, and that will be thrown down the drain when we know that water is the problem? So can we bring about this kind of small change in our own family instead of having a lot of environment conferences and and not follow these simple things? Similarly, in our home, we have shifted from Turkish towel, which is 650 GSM. GSM is a gram per square meter, to towel, which is thin. It's also called tort in Tamil and gamcha in Bengali. And that consumes about 5 to 6 liters of water. Now, these are small changes which are very disruptive in nature. And if you can just show me a hand, how many of you have dual flushing system in your house, please? Raise your hands, please. Out of maybe 100 people, about 25 people have raised their hands, right? And I'm not surprised. And for your information, ladies and gentlemen, when we flush with a single flushing system, we are using a, a Bofors gun where you need to use a pistol. But when you have a dual flushing system, you use 1.5 liters for discharging your liquid base, and for a big job, you discharge 6.5 liters. So, a family of four can bring down the consumption from 200 liters for flushing to about 46 liters for flushing. And I had the opportunity of being part of a housing society in Delhi, where by design intent, we implemented drip irrigation not only in the garden, but in each balcony so that whoever waters the garden can do it comfortably and optimally. Uh, I think there's Mr. Law. Uh, he said that experience is a hard teacher. It gives you the test first and lessons later on. I think this is my experience of uh, uh, the hard teacher. I'm so happy the hard teacher taught me these lessons. I'm very happy once again to acknowledge Admiral Govil and Conservator of Forests, Mr. Sinha, for having nudged me into this area. Those days I must share with you. I was suffering the disease called ecological illiteracy. This is a secret. Don't tell anybody. Okay. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.